We now return to the Bob Huggins Show, presented by Little General Stores.
Welcome back to the Bob Huggins Show. We are here at the WVU Coliseum ahead of the home finale. And of course, we had to take one final opportunity to get our favorite guest here on the program, the pepperoni roll lover himself, Fran Fraschilla. Fran, great to have you back with us. And do you have your snacks ready for tonight?
I've already had some Pizza Al's. Couldn't find a pepperoni roll today, but I did well today in Morgantown. Started with breakfast at Bob Evans, one of my favorites. Coach Hugs knows about Bob Evans, you know, growing up in Ohio. And no, I've had a great time. This is my saddest time of year because I love coming to Morgantown. I love seeing not only Coach Huggins and the staff and the players, especially senior night, but all the great fans that come out. And I'm kind of a mini celebrity in Morgantown. So it's really fun, but it's because of the passion of the fans that I love coming here. Don't tell anybody. It's kind of like my favorite place in the Big 12.
Oh, okay.
Right? Don't tell anybody.
Don't worry, we'll keep that on wraps here. Well, how about this? Every time you are in town here at WVU, we will bring you pepperoni rolls if you promise to come back here to the show.
I'll always do the show.
Okay.
I don't want to hear it from Coach Huggins or anybody else. I'll always do the show. It's always a pleasure being on with you.
All right, well, that's what we love to hear, and it is a done deal. So a lot has changed with this program since the last time that we talked. West Virginia was ranked number 6th then, 20th now. Yeah. What has changed with this team in the second half of the season?
Partly it's being in the Big 12 and, and just going through the grind, home and home, and some really good teams in this league. West Virginia had a great out-of-conference run with the win in the tournament in Orlando, where I was. Beating Virginia here, think about that. But then I think, quite frankly, losing a few leads where they maybe could have salted it away, didn't get it done. And but other than that, it's just been the bump and grind of the best conference in college basketball. And just about everybody, including Kansas, went through their ups and downs. And it's a matter of, it's how you finish, and can you finish healthy going into the tournament in Kansas City and then the NCAA tournament. And it looks to me like the Mountaineers are, reasonably healthy.
Yeah, like you had said, every team, it seems, in the Big 12 has went through that stretch of losing a few games after being at a really high point in the season. Oh, we've got a great guest.
Who made him an expert? Who made you an expert?
Look who's here.
Who made you an expert?
He said his favorite place was to come here to the Coliseum, and he'll always be on the Bob Huggins Show thanks to you.
He did it for one reason, to get free pepperoni rolls.
There it is.
That's the truth.
He found it out.
We've got it from the man himself. So let's go back to, like we were talking about, shaky the way things are playing out in the Big 12. Anybody can win on any given night. 2 games, including this one here for West Virginia, left in the regular season. How do you see things shaking out, not only for WVU, but around the Big 12 in the tournament next week?
Well, I think everybody, to be honest with you, now that we're a week away from the tournament, I think it's a matter of every team in this league, including the Mountaineers, are trying to stay sharp. Obviously, winning at home is important. They'll finish the season down in Austin. And now the second season starts, really the third season, because non-conference is the first season. Big 12 league play is the second season. And there's 2 more to go for the good teams in this league. And the next season coming up is Kansas City. And if you haven't won the regular season, it is fun to win the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. Mountaineers have been there, before. Iowa State's won it 3 times in the last 4 years. So that's the next season coming up. And then after that, everybody's getting ready for really what they work for, and that is go to the NCAA tournament, March Madness, and see if you can make it happen. And by the way, West Virginia coming into tonight is one of only 5 teams in college basketball that are ranked in the top 25 in efficiency on offense and defense. That's a pretty good precursor of postseason success. So we'll see.
And one of those guys, very efficient on both offense and defense, senior Jevon Carter. Last game up against Iowa State, he became, not only set WVU history, but the first player in a Power 5 conference. 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, 500 assists, 300 steals, and just what an all-around player he is. How does he stack up against some of those guys that's names being tossed around for Player of the Year?
Well, he's going to be an All-American candidate for sure, and he's going to be a first-team All-Big 12. How it shakes out, I think with Kansas winning the regular season, how you like those hands?
One assist for Fran.
Yeah, and I told you I would do that, right?
Yeah. You did.
So, but I think Devontae Graham has a really strong chance to be Player of the Year because of Kansas' success. But there's no player, and I've seen a lot of good players come through this league, and you grow fond of these guys, whether it's a Frank Mason, Buddy Hield, Monte Morris, and certainly Jevon is one of my favorites. Watched them play as a freshman. I like to be able to say that it was back then that I saw some greatness, maybe not to this level that he's performed, but it's kind of sad for me too, because it's like my senior night here, because I know I'm going to get emotional watching him, with Coach Hugs and the hugging and the crying. So I get caught up in these guys, and I'm so excited for him because he not only has had a great career here, but he's absolutely epitomized what Coach Huggins stands for. The effort, the attitude, the off-the-court things he's done, the student athlete he is. And I am hoping, and I'll do everything I can to talk that young guy into the NBA, because I'd love to see him play at the next level. I know how big a dream that is, and I have a feeling he's going to get there.
And his fellow senior guard, Daxter Miles. It'll be the senior night for both of them. A guy who has also meant a lot to this program when he and JC came in together and really helped start Press Virginia. Looking back now, you said you had the opportunity to watch them as a freshman. How have they grown over the past 4 years?
Well, first of all, Dax is a guy I've really liked too, because I've always loved Baltimore guys. Baltimore guys, as Coach Hugs know, they have a chip on their shoulder, a good one. And so these two guys, along with, you got to throw Wani in there, Staten, and Gary Brown, and Tariq Phillip, and Jay Sean Page. They got Press Virginia started, and these guys are finishing West Virginia, at least the first chapter, because Press Virginia, because they were here at the beginning. They're going to win over 100 games each, and it's remarkable careers they've had. And what I know about this community and the state of West Virginia is, whether it's Jerry West and Hot Rod, or Kevin Jones, or Deshaun Butler, or the seniors tonight, there's always going to be a special place in these fans' hearts for guys that pour their heart and soul out, not only for their teammates in the university, but from this entire state. And I've driven through the state a lot, and so I know how people feel about basketball here and how they feel about these guys.
Well, Fran, we certainly appreciate the insight. Great chat with you here. West Virginia, 2 regular season games left, including the one here against Texas Tech. You just heard a little bit from Bob Huggins, but don't worry, he will be back to close out things with Tony Caridi right here on The Bob Huggins Show.
We'll return with more of The Bob Huggins Show, presented by Little General Stores.